You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, Schreiber Foods falls victim to a cyber event.
Underway. We're going to find out how long it's going to last. Already a flood watch in effect. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, Joplin hosts its first Technology and Innovation Summit. We've got an exclusive interview. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation is helping in the case of a woman found dead in rural Delaware County. Authorities found the body Monday near East 570 Road in the town of Kansas, Oklahoma. In that same area, they found the car, purse, and other belongings of 82-year-old Ava Moore, who was reported missing from her Springdale, Arkansas home on October 20th. The medical examiner is working on a positive identification and trying to determine the manner and cause of death. In addition to the OSBI, law officers from Delaware County, Oklahoma and Springdale, Arkansas are working on the case. Clay County, Missouri prosecutors say a 44-year-old Kansas City landlord is charged with second-degree murder after a tenant was stabbed to death. Authorities say the stabbing was over an argument about heating at the house. Monday, prosecutors charged Gordon Macbeth in the death of Daryl Gilland. Officers responding to a call Friday to a home in northern Kansas City found a bystander pointing a gun at Macbeth. A probable cause statement says witnesses told officers Macbeth stabbed Gilland, and authorities say Gilland had been stabbed more than 30 times. Gilland's girlfriend told investigators the couple had been working with Macbeth on a problem with their heating when he came to the home and attacked Gilland. The lead agency hosts a conference to discuss cleanup efforts at Tark Creek in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. Tark Creek was declared a Superfund site by the EPA in 1983 because of contamination from lead and zinc mining near the creek. At yesterday's conference, the agency said every time that area floods, it recontaminates sites that have already been cleaned. The GRDA proposed raising water levels at Grand River, but lead agency officials say that would make things worse at the Tark Creek site. The conference will continue both today and Thursday. A local manufacturer falls victim to what they're calling a cyber event. According to a representative from Schreiber Foods, the company had a cyber event which impacted their plants and distribution centers in southwest Missouri and beyond. The event prompted a shutdown that began Friday night. The company, which employs more than 1,700 people in Carthage, Monette, and in Mount Vernon, Missouri, say they immediately mobilized a specialized response team that worked to resolve the matter. Since the incident, Communications Director Andrew Tobish says they've made good progress in resolving the issue, and Schreiber's plants and distribution centers started bringing the plants back up late Monday night and early Tuesday morning. With Halloween just a few days away, haunted houses are popping up all over the 4 states. But we also have what some say are real haunted houses locally. The Paranormal Science Lab works with local historic buildings to educate the community on their history through paranormal events. The group says they regularly investigate these spaces by studying their past, as well as using technology to investigate strange occurrences.
I interview them, go on site, and often just to observe and gather information. When we actually get to the point of investigating, we try to rely on equipment as far as documenting what's going on.
Paranormal group uses special camera and audio equipment to look for answers to the supposedly ghostly events they investigate. And later in the show, we'll get a tour from the George Ball House in Webb City, which is said to be haunted. Depending on the level of daredevil inside of you, this next story will either get a hard nope or a big heck yeah. This is City Climb. It's the highest external building climb in the world. Visitors to New York City can give this new attraction a try for $185. Guests take more than 190 steps to ascend nearly 1,200 feet in the air. At the top is an outdoor sky deck where people can get 360-degree view and literally hang off the side of a skyscraper. You can enjoy a champagne toast at the top, one that might be needed after that adrenaline rush.
I don't think you want to be combining alcohol with doing that. That don't seem like the brightest thing.
That would be so cool. Something tells me you might not like that, Michael.
Here, walk all the way up here and we'll ply you full of champagne. Let's go to the Empire State Building. It's just as cool.
Are they're hooked on, right?
I lost a hat at the Empire State Building. Somewhere in New York City, somebody ended up with a University of Missouri Tiger hat because the wind caught it on the observation deck. Away it went. Skywatch Stormtracker with the thunderstorm activity now in play. Lightning has calmed down. That's a good thing. The latest development down here in Ottawa County, in between Fairland and Miami, now stretching down to Delaware County, close to Grove, where we've seen a little southern push of this action. And everything is going to move from west to east, and everybody's going to end up with rain because we've just started. This is going to run all the way into Thursday. And an indicator of that is yet to rain in Vernon County, but the Little Osage River, at the gauge near Horton, well, there's already a flood watch in effect that doesn't expire until Sunday night. It's also windy out there, gusting up to 30 miles per hour. And really, it's on the leading edge of the front. It gets a little bit better, believe it or not, once it starts to rain. But as it pushes through, that's when the rain really kicks up. Took the tower cam, faced it off to the west right there, see if we don't pick up any lightning and the impending rainstorm that's headed its way over Joplin. This is 7th and Range Line that has been dry so far, sitting at 60 degrees. Temperatures really haven't moved, even out to the west where the rain first started, been able to stay in the low 60s, mid 60s in northeast Oklahoma, and we've gone anywhere from about 54 to 59 throughout southwest Missouri. It is going to cool down here for Thursday and Friday, but not a whole lot of movement as for today. This system stretches from South Texas all the way to the Canadian border. Big trough of the jet stream digs into the panhandles. But instead of this elongated band just moving east and getting out of our way, not going to do that. Now, we'll keep the majority of the severe weather coming out of South Texas, and it'll roll through Houston and then toward New Orleans along the Gulf. So while we're just talking about good old-fashioned thunderstorm activity, it's the amount of rain that we're going to get. Don't worry about sunshine. We're not going to see it for a couple of days. As this thing pushes east here for this afternoon and evening, that's when it stalls out, counterclockwise movement, falls back down on us all the way into Thursday evening, finally clearing out on the far west and then pushing through. By Friday morning, should be done with it. A 7-day forecast with those cooler temps there to finish off the work week, but still setting up for a nice Halloween weekend for the kiddos. Mid 60s with sunshine and, more importantly, a chance to dry out.
All right, well, hopefully we will get some drying out this weekend because it's definitely going to need it before it rains again next week. All right, up next, an FDA advisory panel recommends emergency authorization for vaccination of young children against COVID-19. Later, a pair of middle school students saved the life of their bus driver when he has a medical emergency. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Children as young as 5 are one step closer to becoming eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine. An FDA panel scrutinized Pfizer's data on their pediatric vaccine and recommended it receive an emergency authorization. CBS's Laura Podesta explains.
17 voted yes, and we had 1 abstain.
An FDA advisory panel has given the first recommendation for Pfizer's smaller dose COVID-19 vaccine for children 5 to 11 years old.
At one point, we thought if we vaccinated enough people, that the virus would go away. It's not going away, and I think we're going to have to find a way to live with it. And I think the vaccines kind of give us a way to do that.
A CDC panel will weigh in next week, and it's possible shots could be going into young arms just a few days after that.
We don't want children to be dying of COVID, even if it is far fewer children than adults, and we don't want them in the ICU.
The group of experts determined that the benefits outweigh the risks, which include myocarditis. 0 cases of the rare heart condition were found in the study. More than 6 million American children have contracted COVID. Still, parents are split on whether their kids should get the shots.
I think it's a good idea because everybody can be safe.
I think that they're just too small and this is something that's just too new.
Some on the panel did express concern about new vaccine mandates.
I'm just worried that if we say yes, that the states are going to mandate administration of this vaccine to children in order to go to school.
Roughly 28 million children will be eligible if Pfizer's pediatric vaccine receives emergency authorization. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
The vaccine for children 5 to 11 would be a 2-dose regimen like it is for adults, but the dosage given would be just a third of the standard amount. Pfizer's study indicated the vaccine is 91% effective in preventing symptomatic COVID in kids. Why looking at someone while they're speaking makes us better listeners, and how many of your favorite fast foods contain potentially harmful chemicals. Naomi Ruckham has today's top health stories.
Chicken nuggets, burritos, and cheeseburgers from your favorite fast food joint may contain chemicals linked to serious health problems. Researchers at the George Washington University sampled 64 fast food items from several restaurants. More than 80% included phthalates, which are used to make plastics soft and are known to disrupt the endocrine system. Chicken burritos and cheeseburgers had the highest levels of chemicals, while cheese pizzas had the lowest. New research shows COVID-19 vaccines are safe for people with a history of severe allergic reactions. The study included more than 50,000 employees in the Mass General Brigham healthcare system. The survey showed that while those with a history of severe allergic reactions reported more allergic symptoms after the vaccine, more than 97% were still able to get both doses. And looking at people while they are talking makes it much easier for us to digest what they are saying. A study published in the Journal of the Acoustical Society of America found that seeing a person's face significantly improves how well we understand them, especially in noisy places where other people are talking. Researchers also found that people were less engaged when another voice tried to distract them. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio honored a famed actor and playwright with a proclamation on Tuesday. Lin-Manuel Miranda was recognized for his leadership in the recovery efforts of the Drama Bookshop and bringing arts and culture back to the city. Miranda is best known for writing and playing the lead in the massive Broadway smash musical Hamilton. The bookshop is a historic cultural institution for theatrical work. De Blasio said Miranda and his colleagues, quote, saved something precious, adding that it is a symbol of the city's rebirth. The proclamation proclaimed October 26th as Drama Bookshop Day.
Forget how big Bill de Blasio is right there until you see him standing behind a podium. Usually see him sitting behind a desk or something like that. My goodness.
He's a tall man.
Skywatch Stormtracker with the thunderstorms coming down. We've now started, and it's going to be a while before we quit. Luckily, our lightning is kind of taking a little break. Starting to see it push down into northeast Oklahoma. It's gotten as far east as Columbus, and we've got it just keeps on backing up all the way to the end of our counties there in southeast Kansas. It's got to make it into Vernon County, but at the same point, we still have a flood watch in effect for the Little Osage River near the Horton Gauge. And also, too, it's blustery outside. The wind's coming in there at Joplin over 7th and Range Line at 17 miles per hour. It'll gust up to 30 miles per hour here later this afternoon. Temperatures have not budged anywhere from, say about 54 to 65 is where we're sitting. So even when the rain does roll through, not a huge drop. It's just going to be making sure that you have an umbrella for the next 2 days, not just this morning, but 2 days. The line extends from Texas all the way to the Canadian border. You look at the east-west girth of it and you go, that's not too bad. That'll roll right. Well, here's the problem. It doesn't want to go anywhere. It wants to hang out right here, and that's why the severe thunderstorm risk map, while we don't even make the marginal category, we're going to be all right with that. It just keeps on rolling through, and by the time it gets to about Springfield area, that's where it throws on the brakes. And we've got more heavy rain here for this afternoon. Then it starts counterclockwise, falls back over on us, north to south. So flash flooding and flooding is going to be a concern all the way through Thursday evening. We'll finally begin to clear off Friday morning, and then we can get ready for a nice weekend. Let's just all be safe with the possibility of flooded roads by the time we get ready for this afternoon's commute. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. During the pandemic, and we certainly haven't come off of it yet, a lot of people were thinking about, well, what do I want to do with my life? Do I want to stay in the job that I'm in? I have this idea. Maybe I've thought about turning it into something that I can do for the rest of my life. And I'm going to steal a line from the person who's about to join us now. Doug Hunt, Director of Entrepreneurship, and there he is at the Joplin Innovation Technology Summit that's coming up. And before we get into that, Doug, you just told me a great line. And first of all, thank you for joining us this early in the morning.
Happy to be here.
But you just told me a great line. An entrepreneur is somebody who jumps off a cliff and figures out how to make a parachute on the way down, because it's scary. It's scary. It's like, number one, there's failure. Number two, there's the economy. What is your role when it comes into ushering people through this process fall into play now that people are like, what do I want to do with my life?
Heavy question, and thank you for asking that. It's something that I'm very passionate about because I've been there, done that. Being in this position at the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce and helping shepherd these new businesses past that fear so that they can build confidence and go on to grow and hire people, that's something I take a lot of pride in. And we should be supporting our small businesses and startups.
So let's talk about the Innovation and Technology Summit, because this is the inaugural one. This is the first time you've put it on. Before we get to the details of it, is there any correlation that you decided to do that this year coming off the pandemic and the fact that people were like, I can totally kind of relook my life and my outlook?
Excellent question. Yes and yes. First part of that is we are in a transition period post-pandemic, and the other thing is that cybersecurity is becoming something that's very serious, and so that's why this inaugural Joplin Regional Innovation and Technology Summit has 4 tracks that address entrepreneurship, e-commerce, and of course cybersecurity protection.
So once I come to the summit, what are some of the particulars that I can benefit from? Who am I going to be able to talk to? What am I going to take away? And how is it going to make me successful in the long run?
Excellent question. We'll touch on all of those. And primarily in cybersecurity on the 2 tracks, we've got, for example, one presenter is a former CIA operative that operated as a spy in the cybersecurity space. And so in cybersecurity, you've got external hacks, and then you have team members that can inadvertently do things, and that's typically the gateway where somebody can get in. And you know, the ransoms that are being paid out right now just so people can access their data is just shocking. E-commerce, our entire area is about 150 stores beneath where the national average is. So there's a lot of retail shops that are in Southwest Missouri that need to relook at e-commerce because it can really grow their revenue. And then of course, entrepreneurship. There are a lot of people out there that are too scared to take that step, and they need to be aware of what's available to them now that wasn't available to them as little as 10 years ago. So
I greatly appreciate you bringing up those aspects of it, because as much as Doug and I started off talking about entrepreneurship, because that's Doug's title. He's the director of entrepreneurship. There are so many things that can be gleaned from the Innovation and Technology Summit for existing business owners, no matter if you have 5 employees or if you have 500 employees. Doug, do I need to register? How do I get hooked up through the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce for the summit?
Absolutely. We have an Eventbrite page, so go to eventbrite.com, and there you can key in Joplin Regional Innovation and Technology Summit. And typically after you type in Joplin and get to regional, the page will pop up. You'll see it, and on that page, you'll see the same logo that's behind me here on camera, and you can purchase your tickets there. And the other thing is the itinerary, the program, some of the speaker bios is on that page as well.
And we're going to put that up on the KOAMnewsnow.com website as well, make it easy to connect to. Doug Hunt, Director of Entrepreneurship, and once again, Eventbrite, and we'll have that on the KOAMnewsnow.com page for everybody to register. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
It's time to honor today's 4th state hero, 2nd Class Petty Officer Bill Bowman of the U.S. Navy. He served from 1962 to 1990 as an aviation electrician. He received the Good Conduct Medal, as well as the Vietnam Campaign National Defense Medal. His hometown, Mound Valley, Kansas. We're proud to salute Bill Bowman, today's 4th state hero. A bus full of kids was headed to school when the driver had a medical emergency. The heroic actions of two middle schoolers from the East Paulding Middle School in Dallas, Georgia, saved their bus driver's life.
And I come up and I see sixth graders yelling, and I come in the aisle, and then I look down and Miss Julie's face is just like bright red and like shaking.
Tense moments on a Paulding County school bus. Earlier this month, the woman behind the wheel couldn't breathe.
I hear her say, "Hey, somebody help." And so I run up like here, and she's over here. She's shaking like really bad.
Kane Doherty did not have time to think, just react.
So I picked up the microphone. I said, "Somebody help. Like, somebody help. Our bus driver feels really dizzy." And then somebody called her phone. It was right here.
A dispatcher was on the line and helped Kane to quickly set the emergency brake, the flashing lights, and emergency stop arm. The dispatcher called 911.
We know she's got diabetes, so we thought maybe it was an attack. So we got her to drink Coke, eat cookies and all that. Some were crying, some were like just screaming, some were just panicking.
Connor Dawes calmed the other kids down and told them to get to the back of the bus. The boys knew every second mattered.
And we opened up a window and we were like waving them down and everything, like telling them to get over here, like to help.
They got the attention of a pastor who happened to be driving by. He hopped on and said a prayer until the ambulance arrived.
That was a moment of relief, I think, for Miss Julie and for us too, to know that God was on our side.
Some smart thinking kids there, quick thinking. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. People love haunted houses during Halloween, but did you know there are plenty in the area open all year round? And it's playoff season for high school football, and the Galena Bulldogs look to turn their hot streak into a title. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. Let's take a look at today's top stories. The Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation is helping in the case of a woman found dead in rural Delaware County. Authorities found the body Monday near East 570 Road in the town of Kansas, Oklahoma. In that same area, they found the car, purse, and other belongings of 82-year-old Ava Moore, who was reported missing from her Springdale, Arkansas home on October 20th. Medical examiner is working on a positive identification, trying to determine the manner and cause of death. In addition to the OSBI, law officers from Delaware County, Oklahoma, and Springdale, Arkansas are working on the case. Clay County, Missouri prosecutors say a 44-year-old Kansas City landlord is charged with second-degree murder after a tenant was stabbed to death. Authorities say the stabbing was over an argument about heating at the house. Monday, prosecutors charged Gordon Macbeth in the death of Daryl Gilland. Officers responding to a call Friday from a home in northern Kansas City found a bystander pointing a gun at Macbeth. Probable cause statement says witnesses told officers Macbeth stabbed Gilland, and authorities say Gilland had been stabbed more than 30 times. Gilland's girlfriend told investigators the couple had been working with Macbeth on a problem with their heating when he came to the home and attacked Gilland. The lead agency hosts a conference to discuss cleanup efforts at Tark Creek in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. Tark Creek was declared a Superfund site by the EPA in 1983 because of contamination from lead and zinc mining near the creek. At yesterday's conference, the agency said every time that area floods, it recontaminates sites that have already been cleaned. The GRDA proposed raising the water level of Grand River, but lead agency officials say that would make things worse at the Tark Creek site. The conference will continue both today and Thursday. Local manufacturer falls victim to what they're calling a cyber event. According to a representative from Schreiber Foods, the company had a cyber event which impacted their plants and distribution centers in southwest Missouri and beyond. The event prompted a shutdown that began Friday night. The company, which employs more than 1,700 people in Carthage, Monette, and Mount Vernon, Missouri, says they immediately mobilized a specialized response team that worked to resolve the matter. Since the incident, Communications Director Andrew Tobish says they've made good progress in resolving the issue, and Schreiber's plants and distribution centers started bringing the plants back up late Monday night and early Tuesday morning. Haunted houses are popular this time of year, but some are open year-round with plenty here in the 4 states. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky took a tour of the George Ball House in Webb City and spoke with a paranormal researcher about the house's history, as well as how they study what they say is ghostly activity.
Heard the sound of something and looked over and watched the doorknob turn, open the door, and no one's upstairs.
Incidents like that aren't unusual for Lisa Martin, a paranormal investigator here in the 4 states.
Everyone that's involved tend to be history buffs, and history and interest in the paranormal often go hand in hand. We combine that interest to help support local sites.
Sites like the George Ball House in Webb City.
It was built by George Ball and his wife Martha in 1900. It would have been Mr. and Mrs. Ball and several of their children.
But this family housed here in Webb City suffered many tragedies,
including a son that was murdered that was never solved, a couple of other deaths in the family that were untimely.
Upon exploring the house, we encountered some pretty strange incidents.
I think this was open when I shut that door.
Like an upstairs door that seemed to have opened on its own.
We keep it shut, there's no reason to. In fact, there's not a doorknob.
Or a faint voice we heard behind us just before turning on the camera.
Isn't it?
Did you hear something or was that me?
I thought I heard like almost a little whisper.
The Paranormal Science Lab team uses a mixture of their history knowledge as well as technology to research paranormal incidents within the 4 states.
When we conduct electronic voice phenomena sessions, we will ask questions out loud and just to see if it triggers anything, if there's a reply either audibly or on a recorder later.
While we can't say for sure what we encountered during our visit, it definitely seemed out of the ordinary. In Webb City, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Be a cool house to check out, and anyone interested in any upcoming ghost tours can go to their website or Facebook, and we'll have that information in addition to information for other haunted houses in the area. You can find that on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, big bucks for a rare Super Mario Bros. 2 game that hit the auction block. It sold for more than $80,000. Are you serious? The 1988 video game was found sealed and in pristine condition in an Indiana closet. That's not the most ever paid. Back in August, an unopened Super Mario game sold for $2 million.
How come we say potato, potato, tomato, tomato, but we don't say Mario, Mario?
Nobody says Mario.
Ooh, that is not true. Live look outside of Television City off to the east where you see the sun begin to rise, but we are already getting light rain here at the mothership, and it's just going to increase because look at what we've got all throughout southeast Kansas. Heavy rainfall to go along with a couple lightning strikes. Lightning's kind of died down there, and now approaching the Missouri state line, beginning to creep in toward Joplin. We already have a flood watch in effect for the Little Osage River near the Horton Gauge. Wind tracker coming out of the southeast, gusting up to 30 miles an hour a little bit later. There is a look off to the west for 7th and Range Line. Skies very, very dark and temperatures ranging anywhere from about 54 to 62. Temperatures really aren't going to budge all morning, afternoon long. You know another thing that's not going to budge? This rain. Because not only do we see it on the 7-day forecast for Wednesday, but we've got it for Thursday as well. As we back up, get back here. There's Future Track. Watch it just last all the way into Thursday morning is when we get the counterclockwise movement. Comes back on us through Thursday afternoon and nighttime, not stopping until Friday. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. Students continue to protest on the University of Southern California campus Fraternity Row after more allegations of sexual assault emerge. These protests and allegations echo 7 reports made just the week before. School has since suspended all fraternity activities, but some are saying that's not enough, and the entire Greek life culture should be shut down permanently. Our question to you this morning, do schools do enough to protect students from sexual assault? And right now, 87% say no, our schools are not doing enough. Remember, 2 ways to connect each and every morning, either via Facebook, KOAM News Now, or you can go directly to the poll, koamnewsnow.com/vote. On to some high school football playoff time, which means everybody wants to be playing their best right now. And in Galena, that's exactly what the Bulldogs are doing, heading into the playoffs on a 7-game win streak.
Galena Bulldogs are on a roll heading into the postseason.
Well, we feel real good. I mean, we talk about, all season long we want to be playing our best football this time of year, and feel like we've made leaps and bounds since week 1, and we want to continue to do those things.
Galena won 7 straight games to finish the regular season after losing by 26 to Commerce, Oklahoma in their season opener.
We just weren't ready for it, but we're more prepared now.
We made a lot of mistakes, offense, defense. I think coaching-wise we did too, and I think we just had to look ourselves in the mirror and just say we got to get better, and that's what we did. And our kids took that to heart, and our coaches did too. And we just focused on us.
The Bulldogs welcome in the Burlington Wildcats Friday night in the first round of the 3A playoffs.
They run a scheme of kind of a single wing. They look similar to what Lamar used to do. Some of that single wing type stuff that is very tricky, and they're very good at it. So we've got to be very disciplined and ready to go, and I think our kids will be.
Galena has already won a district championship this season. They're hoping the momentum they've built in the last 2 months can help carry them to a state championship at the end of November.
It would mean a lot to me, just being a senior, going far, possibly winning the whole thing. That would be a lot.
Anytime you can play football into November, it's a great thing. We talk about that always with our kids, that's what we strive for, and hopefully we can get after it and play this week and move on. But we're playing against a good team, so we'll see what happens.
Galena's game against Burlington kicks off 6 o'clock Friday night in Galena. We'll have a little bit more high school football playoff previews in just a little bit. Going to come back, do consumer news and stocks right after this.
What can Brown do for you? UPS says profits rose to nearly $2.9 billion in its third quarter. Revenue topped $23 billion. That was better than expected. UPS continues to reap the rewards of massive demand for online shopping. Independent bookstores all over the world have been fighting to stay afloat against e-retailers like Amazon. In France, lawmakers have tried for years to give them a leg up by introducing minimum book prices and prohibiting free shipping. And now new legislation is going further, setting a minimum cost for shipping books so brick and mortar stores can keep competing. Amazon lobbied against the legislation, saying low delivery charges enabled equal access to books no matter where a customer lives. Well, you can now enjoy Red Lobster's most iconic menu item without having to leave your home. The freshest catch in Walmart's freezer section is Red Lobster's famous Cheddar Bay biscuits. The chain, which previously sold a baking pack for its biscuits, is making it even easier for you to enjoy the rolls at home. Yummy. Selling a frozen version, which can go from freezer to oven to plate in just about 30 minutes. No chef skills required. Lovers of Red Lobster's Cheddar Bay biscuits can stock up on this frozen treat only at Walmart. Well, Pop-Tart is being sued over claims about the lack of strawberries in its strawberry-flavored pastry. The company is facing a $5 million class action lawsuit after numerous customers became disgruntled. According to the suit, the strawberry Pop-Tart is misleading customers and actually contains more apple and pears. Lawyers hope to argue Kellogg's must be more transparent with shoppers about its products. The company says it doesn't comment on pending lawsuits. Well, change in cruise ship regulations. Beginning in January, cruises will no longer have to follow CDC rules tied to the pandemic. The government agency says the rules will become recommendations at the start of 2022. The cruises had been under a no-sail order until late last year when it was replaced with a conditional order. Those conditions meant ships could set sail only if 95% of passengers were vaccinated. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
It's double down days at all.
Talked earlier about it being playoff time. Well, the Riverton volleyball team headed to the 3A state tournament in Hutch this weekend. Rams earned the spot by claiming a sub-state championship, their second straight sub-state title. After being one and done last year, Riverton aiming to go to Hutch, bring back some hardware this time around.
Going to state this weekend is a business trip for the Riverton volleyball team.
Well, we definitely aren't just going for the experience. We are, scouting every day, looking at a lot of game film, giving the kids information, trying to prepare them for the teams we're going to play.
It starts with 3 pool play games on Friday with the goal of surviving to play on Saturday.
Only the top 2 in each pool get to continue on Saturday. Riverton's had other teams, a handful of teams that have made it to the state tournament, but they've never made it into the top 4.
It would be awesome. It would be the best experience of my life. I just really want to put everything out there to try to get to that day.
We feel like it's anybody's title to go after on the second day.
Riverton has a young roster without a single senior. What they lack in experience, though, they make up in team chemistry.
We have a lot of fun on and off the court. They all love hanging out with each other. We eat lunch every day together as a team, and they're just like family. They're like a bunch of sisters hanging out together.
We're all like sisters. We know each other pretty well. We've grown up together our whole lives, and we get to stay together next year too because we don't have any seniors.
I love their energy, their excitement. We don't have any seniors, and so they're playing kind of with house money, it seems like.
The Rams know what they're up against this weekend, but they also know if they play well, they have a chance to make history and put Riverton volleyball on the map.
Southeast Kansas sometimes doesn't have the reputation that some of the schools that are around Wichita and Topeka and those schools. They get a lot of recognition, and they deserve it because they get to that second day and they win state titles. So I think it's time for a Southeast Kansas team to go really make some noise.
Known a lot of those girls a long time, and tell you what, it gets started early Friday morning, 8:30 against Smoky Valley. And then they got 2 more after that. They got Beloit at 10:30, Eureka at 1:30, and of course Jacob and Danny in our marvelous sports department will bring you all those results on Friday. That's what we've got outside of Television City. We've got some light rain for us. All of you out to the west, you're going light rain. Give me a break. It's been raining on us all morning. And I understand. There's a look at where the heavy rain is out on the western edge of southeast Kansas. And just here, in about the past 20 minutes, we've got a batch that has finally crossed the state line into Missouri. Northeast Oklahoma had a little bit earlier, kind of calmed down right now. There's plenty more to come for everybody. Flood watch already in effect for the Little Osage River by the Horton Gauge in Vernon County. One thing it does do when the rain rolls through, wind begins to subside a little bit. I can tell you that firsthand. Walking outside and looking at the system move in, I just gave up on my hair this morning. Every time I walk out there, I just get blown sideways. But because it's yet to really move through Joplin, that's still why we're sitting at 17 miles per hour. Look out to the west right there with the darker skies. 60 degrees is where we stand over 7th and Range Line. Even when the rain does roll through, not a big difference temperature-wise. Not one of those that brings in a massive cold front by any means, but it's just going to rain all day long because now that we've started and this thing goes from about South Texas all the way to the Canadian border. And remember, it's going to stick around for Thursday as well. This is going to be kind of a nonstop affair, and the rain tracker going to build us up there anywhere from 2.5, 3.5 inches. Going to be pretty easy by the time Thursday is over. Cooler on Friday. Still good looking Halloween weekend though for the kiddos. Mid-60s, sunny skies, and don't have to worry about the rain. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. An FDA advisory committee endorses Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. The FDA and CDC are widely expected to move quickly to formally approve the reduced dosage vaccine. Shots could start being rolled out as soon as next week. A powerful nor'easter has dumped at least 4 inches of rain across New York, New Jersey, and New England in the past 24 hours. The deluge triggered widespread flash flooding and led to thousands of power outages. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are said to be nearing a deal on a spending bill backed by President Biden. When the legislation was unveiled, its $3.5 trillion price tag prompted objections from moderate Democrats. It's since been trimmed by nearly half to about $1.75 trillion. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
Now that it's underway, it's not going to stop anytime soon. The rain is going to carry us all the way through Thursday night. There's the counterclockwise motion for tonight into Thursday morning, and that's why it sticks around so long. 2.5, 3.5 inches of rain is going to be pretty easy to pick up. Cool on Friday, nice looking weekend.
We'll need an excuse to enjoy a cold one on a random Wednesday. It's National American Beer Day, and beer has been brewed in America long before Europeans arrived. Native Americans made beer with ingredients like corn and birch sap. The oldest producing brewery in the U.S. is Youngling, which was established as Eagle Brewery in Pottsville, Pennsylvania in 1829. Today, there are more than 2,100 breweries in the United States.
Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. Back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
Win up to